What's up, Tailgaters? My name is Tailgate Nate. Welcome to my channel. Week 1 of the college football season is just about a day away here. This video is going to go up around Wednesday afternoon. And this is a Week 1 prediction video. But you're going to get 2 Week 1 prediction videos. There are just too many great games going on in Week 1. There's a pretty substantial slate of games Thursday, Friday, a huge slate of games on Saturday, and of course a game on Sunday and a game on Monday. So you are going to get 2 prediction videos this week. Every other week you will only get 1. You're going to get 2 prediction videos this week, and this is my Week 1 prediction video for the games. They're going to be played on Thursday and Friday, so over these next 2 days, there are some really good football games going on, and I'm going to talk about 10 of them here that, again, are some teams worth watching, some matchups worth watching, and just some all-around good games. But before we get into that, I want to thank you guys for all the support on the channel as of late. Hey, we're almost at 700 subscribers since I last looked, and if you guys found that you aren't subscribed yet, because most of you that watch my videos aren't, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell. It does help support my channel. Even leaving a like, commenting down below, that helps support my channel as well. So any way you can help support me, if you would like to, feel free to do so. It really does help me out. Let's dive in. These are some Week 1 predictions for the Thursday and Friday games. On Friday, I will be posting one for the games that are played on Saturday, and then later tomorrow morning you'll get a news video for the Thursday, Friday games, and just some overall news, and then on Saturday you'll get a little mini news video along with some more injury updates for the teams that happen to play on Saturday. So that's kind of my schedule for this week. It'll be a lot more a lot more steady and a lot more consistent over the next coming weeks. It's just Week 1, usually one of, if not the busiest weeks of the college football season. But let's dive in now. Week 1 predictions. We're going to start with an SEC team. The Tennessee Volunteers are at home for the first game of the season. They're going to be taking on the Ball State Cardinals. I believe I have 7 games from Thursday and 3 games from Friday here. Of course, all lines and odds are as of recording this video, so those are, of course, subject to change. Tennessee is the 35-point favorite here, and there's a reason why Tennessee's the overwhelming favorite in this game. First of all, they ran almost 3 plays per minute last season. That was the fastest pace in the nation last season. Tennessee loves to run tempo offense. They run really fast, and they have the players to put up a lot of points. Hendon Hooker was really good for this team last year, and he probably may be even better this coming season. He's got a lot of weapons around him at the wide receiver position, especially Cedric Tillman. Also, Brew McCoy, a transfer coming over from USC. He recently just got ruled eligible to play. Probably will talk about that in my news video out tomorrow. And yet, Tennessee's offense more than capable of scoring 35, 40 points per game. But can the Cardinals' offense keep up with that? This is the Cardinals' offense that is losing Drew Plitt, that is losing some weapons at wide receiver, losing some pretty key pieces on the offensive side. Ball State, I don't know that they're going to be able to match the offensive output that Tennessee is going to put up. Ball State, probably not a great shot to win this one, but when you look in the middle there, the Vols defense is a storyline to watch not only in this game, but this season here as well, because Tennessee's defense, not necessarily one of the better defenses in the nation, and they really struggled at times last season. The offense coming into every game might think, okay, we have to put up such an amount of points in order to come out with a win here. Watch Tennessee's defense and watch and see how they improve. All in all, though, there's no reason why Tennessee shouldn't win this game. I got the Vols winning this one 49-17. How you can watch this one. Again, this is a Thursday game, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on the SEC Network. I got the Vols winning this one by 32. So Ball State beating the spread just a little bit in my mind, but Tennessee, no reason why they should drop this game. Moving on now to a fairly interesting matchup, and it's a matchup that I think people are going to overlook, but there's some history between these two sides, the Central Michigan Chippewas and the 12th ranked Oklahoma State Cowboys. This will be the first ranked team in action this upcoming season. Oklahoma State, of course, is returning quarterback Spencer Sanders. They are the 21.5-point favorites in this game, but Spencer Sanders, you can feel like he's got to step up his game a little bit, right? Spencer Sanders definitely is a quarterback that could throw some improvement into his game, and definitely there is some room for growth, right? The Oklahoma State and Spencer Sanders. And again, Oklahoma State losing some weapons off that team as well from last season, especially Jalen Warren at the running back position. Tay Martin is a wide receiver that's gone. So Spencer Sanders, while he still has weapons around him, still some good players, he's got to be able to step up his game and play at a higher level. And then also for Oklahoma State, what does that post-Knowles defense look like? Jim Knowles, of course, now going to be the defensive coordinator at Ohio State. And it was a defense that was top 10 in a lot of categories last year, especially pressuring the quarterback. So definitely going to need to show that they can still provide that pressure without Jim Knowles being that defensive coordinator. Be interesting to see how the rest of the defense looks without him at the control of this defense. And then for Central Michigan, Lou Nichols was the leading rusher last year as a freshman. He was outstanding. He's going to be going up against a pretty aggressive Oklahoma State defensive line. Yeah, they lost some guys and lost some transfers, but I think this is still going to be a really good defensive line. It's going to be a good defensive unit, but Central Michigan, can that offensive line create holes against the Pokes defensive line? I see this game being closer than a lot of people think. Those of you that have been on my channel know I'm really high on this Central Michigan team, and I think Oklahoma State at 12, a little bit overrated. But as far as this game goes, the Pokes should be able to pull this one out. Again, these two teams have history. Central Michigan in their last meeting won on a crazy play, and maybe Central Michigan can pull off an upset here like that. This is an upset that you got to watch. Watch out for the Chippewas. I think this is going to be a very dangerous team this year, especially with Lou Nichols and company at running back. Richardson comes back as that quarterback. He was good for them last year. He can be good for them again this upcoming season. I just think Oklahoma State defensively is going to be able to slow down whatever Central Michigan's going to be able to throw at them. Central Michigan beats the spread, but I still got the Pokes winning this game by 10 points. Continuing on now to, hey, this is going to be one of the better games, not just of Thursday, Friday, but of Week 1, period. It's the West Virginia Mountaineers and the Pittsburgh Panthers, who are ranked 17th in the nation. The Backyard Brawl is back this year, and in this year's edition, Pitt is a 7.5-point favorite. But both teams are going to be breaking in new quarterbacks. It's the battle of former Trojans. JT Daniels is coming over from Georgia, where he was last at, where he didn't necessarily lose a game, but you could definitely tell that, again, he was dealing with injuries, and there's some room for improvement as JT Daniels maybe not totally lived up to the hype of his career. Still a great quarterback nonetheless, and is going to provide a great asset to this West Virginia offense, who has some really good weapons around him, including Bryce Ford-Wheaton. And then, of course, Keaton Slovis coming into a Pittsburgh Panthers squad that, well, is going to be looking to replace a lot of pieces, right? Kenny Pickett is gone off last year's team. Jordan Addison has gone off of last year's team. Now Kanata Mupfield comes in for this Pittsburgh Panther team. And this is a Pittsburgh team that I still feel like is going to be able to get the ball downfield with the weapons that they have. But, I mean, this is definitely going to be an interesting test for both of these teams. Both offensive lines are experienced. I believe both teams return all 5 starters on the offensive line. So that's going to create a really interesting battle, not only in the trenches and in the run game, a place where West Virginia is pretty confident in, even though they are losing Letty Brown, and a place where Pitt has a lot of great running talent. But I'm more interested to look on the defensive side of the ball. Which defensive line is going to be able to create pressure and get back to the quarterback and make the other quarterback feel uncomfortable? And speaking of the defensive side, well, the glaring hole on this West Virginia team is their defensive back group. And they're going to be tested this year for sure. Keaton Slovis and company are going to stretch the ball downfield. Even though Pittsburgh doesn't have Mark Whipple as that offensive coordinator anymore, Pitt's still going to be able to stretch the ball downfield and make things hard on West Virginia. I think this is a closer game than people expect. I know some people are picking West Virginia outright. There are some people that are pretty high on this team. I'm not as high on West Virginia as most people, and I'm leaning Pittsburgh in this game here. I think it's going to be a tough, grinded-out type battle, but I do have the Pittsburgh Panthers coming out of the gate and winning this one. 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on ESPN. Should be a phenomenal game to watch, and maybe Pitt wins it on like a game-winning field goal or something. This is going to be a really good test for both these teams, but I got Pitt edging out the Mountaineers. VMI, the Keydets, are going on the road to take on the 22nd ranked Wake Forest Demon Deacons. Now, Wake Forest is obviously the team to watch here in this game. There's no reason why Wake Forest should lose this game. But with Sam Hartman being out, how does Griffiths or Kern look at the quarterback position? To my knowledge, a starter has not been announced yet, and I don't think we'll know until game time. comes around. So watch out for the quarterback play. They have a lot of weapons around him at the running back position, at the wide receiver position, including A.T. Perry. But again, what quarterback comes in and how do they play as Sam Hartman is going to be out for the foreseeable future? Will Wake's offense still be as explosive without Hartman, of course, who is out indefinitely, should be back at some point this season, but again, out indefinitely, or Jaquari Roberson, who was a wide receiver last year? My answer to that question is yes. I still think Wake Forest is going to be explosive. They still have that offensive coordinator, that absolute mastermind, whose name is escaping my mind right now. But, I mean, he is still there. He is going to be a very effective part of what Wake Forest wants to do this year, even without Sam Hartman or Jaquari Roberson on this team. Of course, Roberson gone to the NFL, but they still have explosive options like A.T. Perry. And Ryan Smenda, that linebacker, got suspended. So who steps up and becomes more of a leader on the defensive side of the ball, especially at that linebacker position? That's something interesting. That is going to be something that's interesting to watch. Now, again, like I said, Wake Forest should not lose this game. I have them winning it by 35. But watch the little things on this Wake. If you end up watching this Wake Forest team, how does the quarterback play look? It can kind of give you a gauge on how Wake Forest may be able to stack up against NC State or Clemson or some of these other schools they have to play, possibly without Sam Hartman. They have the skill corps to do it. Is the quarterback play there without Sam Hartman? This is 7:30 Eastern game on ACC Network. Wake Forest should win, but watch for how this team plays. Louisiana Tech and Missouri are going to be taking each other on in week 1 of the season. Missouri is the 20-point favorite, as they should be. And again, Missouri shouldn't lose this game. It was a Louisiana Tech team that wasn't great last season, but it's a team that definitely should improve their win total from last year. Now, transfers are a big story for Missouri, period. Offensively, they have, I believe, a new wide receiver coming in Luther Burden. There's a lot of defensive transfers coming in at pretty much every single level. So seeing how the transfers work out and seeing how well this team meshes together in the first week of the season is going to be huge to watch for this Missouri team, especially the battle in the trenches. And can the Tigers' run game be effective without Tyler Beatty leading that rushing attack? So it'll be interesting to see who Missouri kind of leans on for that rushing attack and how that offensive line looks this coming season. But let's look at the Louisiana Tech side, right? There was almost a 3 or 4 way battle for the quarterback position, and Matthew Downing has come out of that. He's a transfer coming in as again, pretty much everyone in the quarterback room for Louisiana Tech this year is either a transfer or a freshman. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see multiple quarterbacks being played by Louisiana Tech, especially since it's a game that they're probably not going to win. But when you take a look there at Matthew Downing, he's got some weapons to work with. So this is a case where Louisiana Tech definitely can make life interesting for Missouri. Now, it's not a game that Missouri is going to lose. In fact, I have them winning the game by 21. This is the 8 o'clock game on ESPNU. But Louisiana Tech and Matthew Downing have some options to try to make life difficult for Missouri. It's not going to be the easiest win in the world, but again, no reason why Missouri shouldn't come out of this game with a win. Watch how the Tigers play. They're a game that is on the fringe of bowl season in my mind. I got Missouri winning the game. This is probably the most anticipated matchup of the weekday games. Maybe besides West Virginia and Pitt, but Penn State and Purdue. What a huge matchup in the Big Ten. Some people don't realize how big of a matchup this is. This is a huge matchup in the grand scheme of things. This is probably going to be the toughest team that Purdue has to play in the regular season all year. And Penn State is looking to rebound after a couple of pretty poor seasons. I'm going to talk about this one for a little bit, so buckle in and get comfortable. Penn State is the short favorite, but still a favorite nonetheless. But Penn State, I mean, they have to get that run game going. They did not have a single rusher last season with a 100-yard game. No one on this Penn State roster last season had over 100 rushing yards in a game. That's going to change this year. It's just, will it change in this game? That's something that Purdue is going to be looking at there as well. But for Penn State, they have Kavion Lee coming back and a highly touted freshman in Nick Singleton, a guy that a lot of people, including myself, feel like is going to be a huge instrumental part to what Penn State is going to be able to do this coming season. But Purdue, on the other side, has one of the best passing offenses, not only in the Big Ten, but in the entire nation. And even though they do lose guys like David Bell and Milton Wright was ruled academically ineligible, there are a lot of guys in that wide receiver room that you might not know the names of, but I think you're going to after this week. There's lots of talent in there, a couple transfers from the Iowa program, and it's a Purdue team that is going to stretch the field and make life difficult for this Penn State team. But at the same time, this is a Lions secondary. This is an Nittany Lions secondary that's probably going to be the best group of defensive backs that Purdue has to play all season. And Penn State got off to a hot start last year. They're going to try to do the same thing again this year. It's two different styles of play. Penn State is going to want to ground and pound first, try to see if they can get the run game established, and Purdue is just going to stretch the field. Now, Penn State is returning Sean Clifford. They have Parker Washington, some other weapons out there for this wide receiver group. So I think they're going to be able to stretch the field, do some nice things as well. But I think Purdue is going to come out of the gate hot, and I like the Boilermakers. I'm higher on them than most people are around the nation. I love what Purdue has this upcoming season, and I think Purdue's going to walk away with a win here in this game. I do think this is going to be a tough, grinded-out type game, but I think Purdue gets off to a really hot start, and they're going to make Sean Clifford try to go win the game. And I don't know that Sean Clifford and company are going to be able to win quite yet. Now, I like a lot of things that Penn State has this year, but I'm really high on what the Boilermakers have, and I think that defense is going to be underrated this year as well, as much as it was last year. Give me Purdue. I got them winning the game by 4. This is the 8 o'clock game on Fox. Purdue, 35-31 is my final score prediction. Would it surprise me if Penn State won the game? No, absolutely not. They're a very talented team, but I'm really high on what Purdue has, and I think playing in Ross-Ade Stadium, and I believe it is a blackout game in a hostile environment, it's going to favor Purdue pretty heavily there. So I am going with the Boilermakers in a huge Big Ten matchup. New Mexico State and Minnesota facing off in another matchup featuring a Big Ten team. Now, Minnesota's the long odds favorite, and New Mexico State had a lot of trouble in their first game against Nevada. So I'm going to be talking a lot about Minnesota here. Here's what you got to watch out for from the Golden Gophers. Tanner Morgan is back. This is like his 18th year at the program by now, and he has a lot of weapons, not only in the running back room with Mo Ibrahim, Trey Potts, some of those other names there, but in the wide receiver room. Chris Amon-Bell is coming back, along with some other really good wide receivers. And this offensive line could be really good this season as well. Again, Minnesota might be one of the more experienced teams in the Big Ten Conference. But let's talk about the running back game for a minute. Can Mo Ibrahim stay healthy? If you remember last year, the season opener against Ohio State, we watched Mo Ibrahim's Achilles disappear from his leg. Hopefully Mo Ibrahim is good, ready to go, and he is back to the Mo Ibrahim that we all know and love. I think that's going to be the best thing for Minnesota and the best thing for a lot of college football fans. The Gophers also have experience on defense, and I think they're going to be able to push New Mexico State around, pretty much do whatever they want in this game. Minnesota's going to be a fairly talented team this upcoming season. And again, it's going to be interesting to see what this Minnesota team looks like in 2022. No reason why Minnesota should drop this game. I got them winning 37-10. This is the 9 o'clock game on the Big Ten Network. And the last Thursday game that I will be talking about as we transition into games that are going to be played on Friday here. And Western Michigan and Michigan State, the 15th ranked team in the nation, are going to be looking to improve on some things from last year and start the season off with a win against a tricky Western Michigan team. Let's talk about Michigan State for a little bit here, though. Of course, Kenneth Walker is gone. He could have been a Heisman contender last season if a couple more runs and games would have gone his way. But, Kenneth Walker was fantastic last season. Are they going to be able to replace him? Jalen Berger and Jarek Broussard are a couple of transfers coming in from Wisconsin and Colorado, respectively. Are they going to look to try to have one of them replace the shoes? Or, in my opinion, what's going to happen, they're going to go to kind of a 2 running back system, and they're going to kind of have that 1-2 punch at the running back position. That's kind of what I think is going to happen for Michigan State this upcoming season. And hopefully this Michigan State rush attack is back to where it should be this coming season. Now, when you take a look at Western Michigan here as well, they got some things that they need to work out. Most notably, their passing game. Again, they lost Caleb Ellaby. They lost Sky Moore. Definitely their 2 biggest weapons on offense. Now, they do return some great talent at the running back position, but the passing attack is a huge question mark for Western Michigan. Are they going to be able to stretch the field and make Michigan State pay? This was a secondary that was not very good a season ago. This is a secondary that really struggled to kind of get things going last season, and let's be honest, was one of, if not the worst secondary in the entire nation last year. Now, that secondary is going to get better. There is no question about that, but how much better can it get? Is Western Michigan still going to be able to make Michigan State pay? They have to take shots down the field. Western Michigan was a team that beat Pitt last year. They are capable of pulling off wins like this if, again, the day is right. We'll see if they can pull off a win against Michigan State. I don't think it's going to happen. I do think Michigan State's going to come out here and win the game. I think Western Michigan will keep it closer than a lot of people think. But I think Michigan State, with Peyton Thorne, Jaden Reed coming back, with that running back duo that they have back there, and the secondary is going to get better, and they have a good defensive front seven. In fact, both defensive lines are really good at getting pressure to the quarterback. I think Michigan State's going to fare a little bit better in this game, and I got them winning 35-23. This is the 7 o'clock game on ESPN on Friday. And again, I really like what the Spartans have this upcoming season. So definitely going to be a very interesting game to watch, but I like the team from East Lansing to pull out the win here. All right, let's talk about some more Big Ten teams. Yeah, why not? A lot of Big Ten teams playing on Thursday and Friday. The Illinois Fighting Illini and the Indiana Hoosiers are facing off in what could end up being a fairly pivotal game for either of these sides. Now, I was shocked to find out that Indiana is the 3-point favorite. I'm leaning towards Illinois, which probably gives you a hint on how I'm going to predict this game, but let's talk about it nonetheless. The Illini have already played a game this coming season. The Illini have already played a game this season. The season's not coming, it is already here. The Illini have already played a game. In fact, they smacked Wyoming, and it was a terrific defensive performance and a great performance from Chase Brown. But the most notable thing I took away from that Illinois game was that their passing game had improved with Tommy DeVito. And that Syracuse transfer was the starting quarterback, and he did some good things for Illinois. But it's still a run-focused team, especially now that you have Brett Bielema as that head coach. It's going to be a run-first team with the passing attack kind of being in the back burner. It's kind of an if-we-have-to kind of scenario, right? Now, the Hoosier offense has got a lot to work out. They lost DJ Matthews. They lost Michael Penix. They lost Ty Freifogel. There's a lot of names gone off of this Indiana offense from last season. However, they're bringing in a lot of transfers on the defensive end. There are some transfers on the offensive end there as well. Sean Shivers comes in. Connor Bazelak coming in to be that quarterback for Indiana, more likely than not. I haven't seen really anything confirming or denying that, but I would think that Connor Bazelak is that starter for Indiana this coming season, and he's got some good weapons to work with. Again, it's a lot of transfers, though, especially defensively. We'll have to see what Indiana can do there. And the Hoosiers offense, again, has a lot of cleaning up to do. This was an offense that was just bad last season. I mean, there's no other way around it. It was a bad offense last year. They're going to have to find a ways to get around this Illinois defense that was pretty stout just a week ago. Again, I was surprised to find that Indiana was the 3-point favorite here. Indiana's a team that, yeah, was bad last year, but they're going to get better, right? This is the team that is going to improve, going to get better. I just don't know that it's going to show that way in week one. I'm starting to like this Illinois team. I like what I saw from them in week one. And while my opinion of Wyoming isn't the greatest, and again, while I think Indiana will improve, this is going to be a tough, grinded-out type game, but I have the Illini coming out of this one. This is the 8 o'clock game, Eastern Standard Time. Again, all times Eastern Standard Time on Fox Sports 1 on Friday. So, again, I think this is going to be a pretty fascinating game to watch, but I do have the Illini coming out on top here. And then the last game I'll be talking about in this video, TCU and Colorado. What to watch for here in this one, as TCU is the 14-point favorite going into Boulder. Morris or Duggan? Is it going to be Chandler Morris? Is it going to be Max Dugan? I'll probably say both during the season. Forgive me. I apologize, TCU fans. But, I mean, Chandler Morris for a long time was kind of making his way towards being that starter. And there was a pretty significant time period where Chandler Morris was running with the ones more often than Max Duggan. So we'll have to see who the starter is for this upcoming game. I haven't seen anything out there to say whether or not one or the other is going to start. And they have an extra day to kind of talk about it and see who that quarterback is going to be. But whomever it is, the Frogs are absolutely loaded at wide receiver. That could be one of, if not the best wide receiver room in the Big 12 Conference. Quentin Johnson is a huge part of what TCU does offensively. And again, no matter who plays quarterback, they're going to have a lot of weapons to work through. Yeah, they have to replace running back Zach Evans, but again, that wide receiver room is going to be really good. Colorado's going to have a solid run game. Colorado, not a lot of bright points to look at with this Colorado team, in my opinion. But when you take a look at Colorado, one thing that should stand out is this team should have a solid run game. I know they lost Jarek Broussard, and quarterback play is kind of a big question mark for the Buffaloes right now. But I think this run game is going to be pretty solid for Colorado, and I like what the Buffaloes have on the ground. Now, TCU's defense flat out has to make improvements. It was a defense that, again, under Gary Patterson, usually was pretty good. Now bringing in Sonny Dykes, it's definitely going to be more of an offensive-minded team than it was before, and the defense is going to have to show major improvements from what it did last season. Now, TCU at 14, in terms of sheer talent for both of these teams, that line is about right. But I think Colorado's going to be a little bit more competitive than that in this game. I think with the atmosphere that they have, it is a weekday game. TCU, yeah, you've had 8 months to prepare for this game. But Colorado, I think, is going to make this game close. All that being said, though, I do have the Horned Frogs coming out and winning this one. 31-26 is my final score. This is a 10 o'clock game on ESPN. Looking at these two schools, looking at these two teams, TCU definitely has the edge here in this one, right? They are the more talented team, but Colorado playing at home, I think it's going to prove to be a little bit more of a challenge than TCU would like to have. So the score will be closer than a lot of people think, but I do still think the Horned Frogs will come out with a win in week 1 of the season. And guys, those are some of the bigger games to watch out for on Thursday, Friday. I know there are more, but I'm not going to go through predict every single game. On tomorrow morning or early afternoon, you're going to get a news video, kind of injury updates about the teams that are playing on Thursday, Friday. And then on Friday, you are going to be getting my week 1 predictions for games on Saturday, and then the game on Sunday and Monday. And then you also are going to be getting another news video probably later in the day, as to kind of what's going on around the nation with teams that are playing on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So that's going to do it for this video. I appreciate you guys watching. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Anything like that does help support my channel. And remember to play hard, but tailgate harder. I'll see all you guys in the next video. Goodbye.